Hello YouTube. It is that time of year again where we kind of look back at those intentions that I so well meaningly set at the beginning of the year and see if it made any difference, if I've managed to achieve it, kind of how we've gone with it. So let's dig just straight in there. Everything kind of fell under the heading of mindfulness. And it wasn't that like hashtag mindfulness, it was like genuine mindfulness. And it fell into, I've got my notes here, it fell into a few categories. And it was mindfulness within my mind. So there was like journaling, increasing positive habits and decreasing negative ones, getting into a routine, reading more, and mindful food shopping. Because I'm terrible for just grabbing a load of stuff and then deciding what I'm going to do with it. And then it's not that stuff goes to waste. I hate waste, it never goes to waste. It's just that I then end up with like far too much. Mindfulness of body was the other thing. So I wanted to be doing like 10,000 steps a day, getting back into yoga and swimming, mindful of what I'm eating and mindful of why I eat. So that was what it kind of bubbled down to. So before I start actually analysing this and looking into if I've managed to do this, something needs to kind of like, I need to address this. So I made these intentions, these commitments to myself when I was working in the ice cream shop, and I was set in my ways. I worked set days, set hours, and I was in my routine. And it's not that I wasn't happy. Oh, excuse me. It's not that I wasn't happy in my routine. It was that I had been working 3 days a week for 4 or 5 years, and I felt like I wasn't making the most of my downtime and that I should do more with it. And again, something I kind of need to address. I was well aware that my job at the ice cream shop was time limited. So while it was a bit of a shock to everyone, and it was very, very sudden when Jamie and I were just like, nope, that's it, we've gone. It wasn't so much to us. We had been talking for a very long time. I'm talking about like at least a year. We had been talking, we'd been pre-planning, and it's not to say that, you know, it was premeditated that we were like, ha ha ha, we're going to choose the worst time and then leave. No, it wasn't that at all. It was that we were very aware that something wasn't right, and we were just waiting for it to come crashing down, which isn't a nice kind of situation to be in. We were just waiting for it to happen, which means that I had been planning for a very long time to, you know, put money away, buy an extra couple of cans of food while I've got it, so I could be tided over when I needed to. So yeah, all of these intentions were set when I was in a certain place, but at the same time I knew it was going to come to an end at some point. But what I didn't know was when and how quickly. And yeah, so January to March, I was in my little bubble. I was working on these and I was doing really well. Then March hit, and I think it's Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Within 4 or 5 days, well, within 48 hours, we both knew this was it. But there was a certain amount of stuff that we had to go through first to be like, no, this is definitely happening. So within 48 hours, we definitely knew that we were leaving, and I definitely knew I was out of a job. And these things happen. It just happened to happen the day before we went to Turkey on holiday. Great timing. But that's the thing. I came back, and within, 2-3 days, I came back, and Rinpoche, our Buddhist teacher, was here. So I spent 2 weeks with him rather than being at work, which was fantastic. I got in touch with Matt at Planet Cuckoo, and I started working with them, and all of this positive stuff came out of it. But it wasn't easy because I'd been stuck in this rut, which I was very comfortable and very happy in. And all of a sudden, I need to find a new job. All of my routines are just completely thrown out the window, and it was a really hard time. There were times when I was just like, did I do the right thing leaving? The answer is yes. I did do the right thing leaving. I definitely did the right thing leaving. But yeah, it was it was really, really hard. But let's start, because I'll go into more of it as we get through this. So mindfulness with my mind. The first thing was journaling. I used to love doing it in the summer. I'd sit out on the balcony, and it's not so much journaling. And I'll sit down in the mornings and be like, right, this is what I need to do today. And in the summer, it was even better because I'd sit on the balcony with Gigi and my cup of tea, and it really helped me kind of settle, especially when, you know, I've got this job today and that job today, and there was no kind of set hours and set things. It helped me kind of figure out what was happening, why it was happening, when it was happening, and how to kind of plan my day and stuff around it. So that was hugely, hugely helpful. It also helped me because when we came back from Kathmandu, I went straight into a job in a cafe, and I genuinely thought I could do it. It was just a regular cafe who dealt with meat. And I thought, you know, I'm not eating it. It's fine. I'll be fine with it. And I really wasn't. And it was combined with the fact that both of us got really sick when we came back from Kathmandu. So we were both sick for like 2-3 months. And it's like, I don't feel well. And there's meat. I don't know whether it's the meat or it's just that I don't feel well. And I lasted a few days and I just couldn't do it. But it was that whole thing of, you know, I decided when we came back from Kathmandu, I'm going to put my head down. I'm going to try and save as much money as physically possible, and try and like pay off as much of the mortgage as I possibly can. But I was just so ill, and I just couldn't hack it. So having the journaling really helped kind of prioritize that with me. Like, is it because I'm sick? Is it because I just don't want to have to deal with meat? Is it that I can't, what is it? What do I do from here? Can I like deal without? Can I just quit? Do I have the funds and the stability to do that? So journaling has really helped me through some really up and down times that have come from like changing multiple jobs this year. So yeah, journaling, tick, awesome. Increase positive habits and decrease negative ones. So I am very antisocial, very crabbit sometimes. But so this is something someone told me at the shop, the greengrocers I now work in. She told me the other day, you're always so happy. Every time I come in, you're so happy. It's like, it's really nice. So obviously, while I haven't been hyper aware of it, there has been an increase in a positive habit. I've become more positive. I've become more outgoing. I've become, you know, just more all-round positive. So that's been quite nice. I have got better with not eating junk food. I've got better with being aware of what I'm eating, which is like kind of comes with stuff a bit later. So that kind of increases the positivity of like habits. I've become more mindful. That was ultimately what this was. I've become more mindful and more aware of what I'm doing, how I react to things, why, and then the journaling has also helped me break that down and understand it. So another big tick on that one. Get into a routine. This was all based around having 4 days off a week. I wanted to get into a routine of, you know, walking, doing my groceries on a certain day and going swimming and making the most of my time. That went completely out the window. Like, completely. What I've got in my notes here is there have been a lot of changes in 2019 which have made a long-term routine impractical, which is totally true. I'm trying to think. So I came back from Kathmandu in May. In June, I started my temp job in the uni. So I did have a certain amount of stability there. But I was there for 2 weeks, and then they kind of put me for another 2 weeks, and then another 2 weeks, and then a month, and then another month. So while I had like, after 2-3 months, I was like, oh, okay, I'm starting to get into a bit of a routine here, because it was very kind of start, stop, start, stop, start, stop. So kind of got a routine, kind of didn't. I got a routine towards the end. Again in my notes, this intention was much more focused around my set in stone job at Affogato and making the most amount of my copious amounts of free time. So also here, March to June we went to Kathmandu. On our return we were both really ill. I started out a job which was unsuitable. I ended up in the temp job. Then I ended up at Easter Greens, and then I started there with the view that my temp job would ultimately end, and it didn't. So it's been a juggling act, because it has. It's just been like, what day is it? Where am I supposed to be? Because I do like Monday at Easter Greens, Wednesday at the university, Thursday at the university, and I'd like maybe like ask for holidays so I could do Friday at Easter Greens, Saturday and Sunday at Easter Greens. And it was constantly this juggling act of trying to balance both out, which is ultimately why I ended up quitting my temp job, because it's like I can't juggle both jobs, and ultimately my temp job's going to end. And I want to work at Easter Greens. That's what I want to do. I love it there. It's an ethical job. It's a fantastic job. And I genuinely love working there. So it makes sense for me to kind of lean towards that one and want to do as much as possible there. Whereas the temp job, it's not that I didn't enjoy it. It's just that it's going to come to an end at some point. So now that I've quit that, okay, January is going to be a bit chaotic, but I'm hoping that this is the beginning of my work life kind of starting to settle a little bit, so I can get into a routine. I've been trying to kind of not force it, but I've been really trying with that. So on Sundays, one Sunday where I was like, I don't know which way is up, where I'm supposed to be, or what is happening. I ended up leaving the house an hour early, and I only remembered when I was on the bus. Like, oh my God. But there's a cafe down the road. So I went and had a cup of tea and a donut or something, and it was really, really nice just to sit for an hour. It's like, there's no point me going to work an hour early. So I'm just going to sit here, relax, and have a cup of tea and have a chat to some locals and some regulars who I would normally see in the shop, but on a more kind of personal level. And I loved it. So I ended up deciding every Sunday I'm going to go to work an hour early, and I'm going to sit and have a cup of tea and whatever is on offer that day. And I'm going to start my day relaxed and being social, rather than getting an extra hour's sleep, waking up and being like, oh, right, where have I got to be? And rushing around. So it's starting, which is really, really nice. It feels so great. So yeah, getting into a routine is happening slowly. Even though it's the end of the year, it's going to happen. My next one with mindfulness with my mind was I wanted to read more, because I used to sit at Affogato and read through the winter because no one came in. I started learning Japanese at work because no one was there. Who wants ice cream when it's really, really cold? It just wasn't working, so I used to read a lot. But I wanted to read more for the fun of it, not just because I was bored out of my tree. So I set myself a goal on Goodreads, I want to say. I set myself a goal to read 24 books this year. Now, I am a painfully slow reader. I find it hard to focus on reading, because normally like there's 15 other things going on. I find it really hard. So it was my intention to sit and read and focus on what you're reading, because I also had a lot of reading given to me by Rinpoche, so I've got a lot of Buddhist books I need to read, but I also want to read for fun. And it kind of had a knock-on effect of like, no, I need to read this Buddhist book. Okay, this is really heavy going. I'll read this fun book, and that kind of like spurs me on to continue with this. So I set a goal of reading 24 books, which for me is a lot of books. That's 2 a month. That's a hell of a lot of books for me. I have reached 21, but it's not the end of the year and I still have time. So I don't know if I'll hit it. I might. Leo's working Christmas Day and Boxing Day nights, and I'm off. So I've got a couple of totally clear days. I've got a lot of bus trips yet. So yeah, fingers crossed, 24 books. So I'm gonna count that as a tick. Yeah, let's count that as a tick. Mindful food shopping. Now this has been very successful as well, because I've been shopping a lot more mindfully. Not that we bin stuff, but it's more like to do with plastic and, you know, why am I buying crisps again? Other than I love crisps. You know, why? So I've been buying a lot more kind of fresh veg. We're eating better because, you know, I'm planning and getting vegetables rather than getting kind of pre-made stuff. And it means that a lot I used to do videos using up odds and ends, but I just haven't been doing them because we've not had odds and ends, because I've been shopping more mindfully. So that's been really another tick. I mean, I do end up with like weird stuff from work because, again, I don't like waste. I will rescue vegetables from work and do things with them, but I don't kind of count that as mindfully shopping because that's rescuing. That's rescuing vegetables that would otherwise kind of just end up in the bin. So again, mindful shopping, tick, because I'm buying less junk. And on my way home today, I went via Lidl to get like cat food because it comes in cardboard rather than plastic. And they do my favourite tube crisps, like Pringles. I prefer theirs because they're saltier and they're not as greasy. I walked past them and I got some rice cakes instead, because then I can have them for my lunch for the next week. So I am being more mindful, and I'm really proud of myself for that, because I love buying food. It makes me so happy, and I love buying weird stuff and junk, but I've got out of the habit of it. So yeah, all in all, mindful with my mind is a massive tick. So I'm really, really happy with that, despite all of these plans being made for a completely different set of situations. Now, when it comes to mindful of body, 10,000 steps a day, I was easily doing that because I'd walk to the ice cream shop, I'd walk around it all day, and then I'd walk home again. The uni is an hour and 10 minutes to an hour and 20 minutes on the bus away, so I can't walk it. It's miles. I would walk, I'd do like a circuit at lunch, or I'd walk to like Aldi to go get cat food or something like that, but I wasn't hitting my 10,000 steps. So that's something I'm going to work on, because I can walk to Easter Greens from here. It will take a little bit longer and it is a bit further, but I can walk it. So I do start doing that. Yeah. Unfortunately, it's something that I just couldn't fit in because of the circumstances that have changed. However, we did get a bike, which is also something that I am going to start using when it's less icy and slippery out. I've been using it to do trips to the local Morrison to pick up things. So while I haven't been doing 10,000 steps, it's all about kind of cardio that I have been working on in different ways. Kind of a tick, kind of. Yoga and swimming turned into weightlifting and cycling. Yeah, I really do need to go back to yoga because with the arthritis thing, it will help. And also standing all day again, it will really, really help. But it's just been that thing of I've not known which way is up for so long this year that I've just not physically had time. However, it will tie into next year's goals and intentions, so we will come back to that in another video. Mindful of what I am eating. That kind of ties in with like what I'm shopping, but I have been a lot more mindful. Again, I'm just going to read my notes. I've been a lot more mindful of what I am eating. I've been using Daily Dozen as a prompt, but not using the list religiously. I have found that so helpful to be like, what have I eaten today? Oh God, I've really not eaten well. Okay, so for dinner, I'm going to make a Buddha bowl, and I'm going to have like my greens and this and this and this and this. And it has been hugely helpful. Things like my overnight oats recipe, that came out of the Daily Dozen because, you know, what can I put in this to make it a bit better so it's not just oats and, you know, soy milk. So I've been using that, and I do feel a lot better for it. There are times that I slide. So I know that Papa John's do vegan pizza because we used to have them at the uni once a month, and they do their Marmite scrolls, which are just amazing. They're the best thing in the world. But while I would fall back on that when it's like, you know, I'm doing my 6th day in a row, I am so exhausted that I can't, like, I either have the energy to have a shower or I have the energy to cook. It's one or the other. I need a shower because it will make me feel better. Right, we're ordering a pizza. But I was a lot more mindful of, right, we've had a pizza today. I now have some time to recover, and tomorrow I'm going to make a Buddha bowl or something. I'm going to eat a lot more vegetables to make up for it. So I'm not just repeatedly falling back on this, because if I eat pizza every day for a week, I am going to feel awful for it. So, you know, that definitely had a knock-on effect. So mindful of what I was eating was, you know, a big tick for me. And mindful of why I eat. Now, I am still terrible for eating for the sake of it, but I am getting a lot better. But you know, if I'm eating for the sake of it, I will now lean towards, like, my most recent thing that I love is raw mushrooms and hummus. You know, yes, if I'm eating for the sake of it, it's better that I do that than I eat pizza. But, you know, I'm getting better at just eating when I'm hungry rather than just for the sake of it. And it's going to be like an ongoing thing. And I guess the outcome of it is that while it's an ongoing issue and it's an ongoing thing that I need to keep myself in check with, I am so much more mindful of it, which was ultimately the goal of 2019, was to be more mindful. So to sum it up, because that's everything now. To sum it up, it has been a huge success. While it wasn't what I envisaged to begin with, I'm a lot more mindful of like why I do things, how I feel, you know, what I'm eating, how it's having a knock-on effect, what I need to do. It's just been, in the complete weird chaos of this year, it genuinely has been hugely helpful. So yeah, I wasn't expecting it to be this kind of profound. You know, I was expecting to be like, oh, this year was chaos and I totally didn't hit any of my intentions. Like, no, these intentions actually set me up for the year ahead and have been huge help. So yeah, now I just need to think of what I want to do next year. So I do have a bit of an idea, but I will leave this for another video because we're going on for like 20 minutes now. So if you've got this far, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe so you can see what's happening in 2020. If you have any questions or comments or anything like that, put them down below. And if you want to give us any support, head on over to Patreon and you'll find like odd videos and PDF recipes, all kinds of stuff over there. So all in all, thank you very much for watching, and yeah, I will see you again soon.